Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the crazy mysteries, things that don't make sense, and just weird things about Michael DeSanta's house. That's right, in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about things that I didn't know and that has been in the game, obviously, since it's come out, which was over 3 years ago. It's crazy. Only a game like Grand Theft Auto can you have it for 3 years and still learn new things every day, which is pretty crazy. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of new things in this video, at least for me, that I thought were very, very interesting. And we're going to be starting off with a pretty funny moment. And this was actually me trying to accomplish something else, but I actually got this instead. So if you shoot rockets or like missiles or grenades at Michael's house as one of the other characters, he'll send you a text message that says, "Was that you firing rockets at my house?" And what's crazy here is a couple things. Number one, Michael's reaction. I don't know about you guys, but if someone was firing rockets at your house, I don't know if the first thing you would do is text them. That seems a little odd, but still very funny for the situation. But number two, Rockstar had to program that situation into the game. They had to know that players were going to shoot rockets at Michael DeSanta's house, and they knew it was going to happen so often that they programmed a text message to send to the corresponding character that, hey, Michael knows what you're doing, and you should probably cut that out because you're shooting rockets at his house. So I wasn't going to include that in the video, but I saw that and I was like, what the heck? That is the coolest thing ever. So that's a pretty funny moment. Again, if you want to do that, just shoot a couple rockets at Michael's house. He'll send you that really funny text message. But that was me trying to do something else. So a couple weeks ago, I saw a rumor that you could like destroy or partially blow up Michael DeSanta's home. And I was very, very curious about that. I was wondering like, okay, that seems kind of odd. But at the same rate, I was wondering if there were any dynamic, destructible elements to his home. There's a bunch of games that use, game engines that have a ton of destruction in them. Grand Theft Auto 5 has it to an extent, and I wanted to test that out in Michael DeSanta's house. So clearly shooting rockets at his house is not going to blow it up. The house itself cannot be destroyed no matter how many rockets you shoot at it. Nothing is going to happen to Michael DeSanta's home. It's not going to collapse. It's not going to blow up. It's not going to do anything like that. There's not going to be any windows that shatter. The only thing you're going to see is some like slight discoloration and some black explosion marks on the outside of the house itself. But really, other than that, nothing is going to happen to the exterior, which is to be expected. There was no way that Rockstar could possibly like program all the different scenarios of, people destroying Michael's home. So unfortunately, as cool as it could be and as funny as that look, I guess, could be, unless you're Michael DeSanta, obviously having your house destroyed would not be fun. There's nothing you can do to the outside. However, there is a fair bit of stuff that you can do to the inside. Now, this is a little tricky because you can't typically get weapons in the homes of other players, but thankfully there's multiple entrances to Michael DeSanta's home where you can kind of pseudo stand outside and still shoot inside. And what I basically did was just throw a bunch of grenades, a bunch of sticky bombs. I used my minigun as much as I can to see if I could get anything to blow up here, and the results were actually very surprising. So what was the least surprising thing here is that the table where the family sits, that was completely destroyed. I didn't know if that was going to be dynamic and change at all, but yes, it was. The chairs were completely evaporated as well. But probably the biggest thing here is this chunk of the wall that was totally removed from all the explosions that I threw in there. So this entire column is pretty much exposed, and there really isn't much left of it. You can see sort of the inside of the wall, the 2x4s, sort of the drywall that holds many of the houses you guys probably live in my house as well. You can kind of see that, and it's exposed, which is very, very interesting. Now, I've been thinking to myself, why would Rockstar possibly program that into the game? Why would they have a dynamic part of Michael's house get destroyed? And then I remember in the mission Meltdown, there's actually a part of the mission where you go back to Michael's house and you can shoot inside because there's Merryweather members in there holding your family hostage. So I would imagine that's what that's from, but it's still pretty cool that this sort of thing can be triggered in free mode and that you can blow up part of Michael DeSanta's house amongst many of the other things. And you can kind of see this isn't just random. You know, it's not like everything in the house blows up, because it doesn't. You can shoot like the chandeliers, you can shoot, I mean, the fruit bowl of oranges won't even blow up, but this column will. So stuff like that is pretty cool to me, and whenever I find little details like that, I always want to share them with you. There are also a few other parts of the house that are kind of dynamic as well. If you start shooting out the front door, there are some pieces of furniture and wood and tables and chairs that have sort of the same effect. They will shatter and blow up and splinter everywhere, which I do think is pretty cool. So bottom line, is Michael DeSanta's house destructible? Can you blow it up? To an extent, not like the TNT dynamite, you know, boom, the whole house goes blown up. But yeah, there are certain parts of the house that you can destroy and that are dynamic. And this is unique for a reason, because Michael's house is the only house that has this characteristic. Franklin's aunt's house, his penthouse, and Trevor's kind of trailer do not share these characteristics. There's nothing inside that has the exact same effect like this. So it is pretty unique and it is pretty rare, and I thought this was super cool and wanted to share it with you guys. Now, that's not the only weird thing about Michael DeSanta's house. Another thing that's pretty weird, and this is something that was actually available only on last generation, was sort of this secret door on the outside of his house. Now, on current generation, which is what I'm recording this right now on, it's no longer there, but for the longest time, there was this door, this mysterious door on the outside of Michael's house that you could draw almost an outline around, and how you knew it was a door is because you couldn't shoot it. Like, there would be like this outline of a door, and it was clearly there because if you put a sticky bomb on it, it would disappear, it would evaporate. And it's kind of made me wonder, what was supposed to be there? Now, the geometry and structure of Michael's house actually makes sense for a door to be there, because if we no-clip through the wall, there is a ton of empty room here that just doesn't make sense for something like this to not be a room. There's no reason that an empty wall space should be that thick in any building. That's just inefficient, and it doesn't make sense at all. And as you can see, as we're kind of going through here, yeah, there's a lot of space, and it would have made sense for a room to be there. So a lot of people have started guessing and speculating, you know, what could this be? What could Michael have possibly used this room for? Or what Rockstar might have cut from the game, and what could they have possibly used it for? Obviously, we know Michael was a retired bank robber. He was trying to live a normal family life. Well, what if he kept like a secret room full of all his bank heisting gear or equipment? Or maybe it was for something a little bit more mysterious that he might not have wanted his family to know about. Well, obviously we won't know that because the room doesn't exist, but it looks like there was plans for a room to exist there, which is once again very, very interesting. Now, the next thing I want to show you guys looks to be a bug regarding Michael's house as well, and one of the features. So Michael lives in a pretty nice house, to say the least. I would say in real life, definitely a couple $1,000,000, and he's got this really cool skylight on the stairs. So if you're walking up the stairs, or you just like look up at this certain point, you'll see this glass window on the ceiling, and you can actually see out of it. You can see the sky, you can see like one of the buildings. I'm pretty sure that's Eclipse Towers. And what's pretty cool about this is, like I said, it gives you a nice little view, lets some light in. But what's odd about this is this window doesn't actually exist. Because if we go outside, have you noticed anything on the roof? There is no window. So I'm no physics expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not how windows work. So from the inside of the house, you obviously have this skylight and this window, but on the outside of the house, you don't, which is super weird. Now, I want to say this is a glitch by the Rockstar developers. Clearly there's a window on the inside, but there's not one on the outside. So maybe it was something regarding like programming where they couldn't figure out how to get the window to look the same way on the inside to the outside. I have absolutely no idea, and I'm not really too sure why something like this is in the game or why this was an issue. We know Rockstar are super like detail oriented with everything they do in the game. So for them to leave out something like this is pretty weird, and I'm not sure this is something they can fix since the game has been released and since it's been put out on disc. But I just think it's super weird that this is like an issue and a bug that is in the game, and it's something that obviously happens at Michael DeSanta's house. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thought that was super cool. And the last thing we're going to be touching about today is another one of those rooms that doesn't seem to be used in Michael's house. Honestly, Michael's home is one of the most inefficient houses ever built, and it really doesn't make sense. So there's this room in his closet. He's got an entrance to the closet, and then there's this other door. and it doesn't seem to lead anywhere, but on the mini map, you can clearly see that there's like space in the house for something else. It doesn't open, and we don't know what's in there, and if you try and no clip through there, you're going to have the same thing happen to you where you're going to get like an empty room, but nothing has been built there. Nothing has been fleshed out. So I thought that this is really weird. Again, some secret kind of creepy things about Michael's house and some things that just don't make a whole lot of sense. But anyways, that's really all the information I have for you guys in this video today. I just wanted to share with you guys a couple weird, creepy, and strange things about Michael's house. And his house is sort of like the only one that has this issue. As I mentioned, his Franklin's aunt's house, his penthouse, Trevor, even though it's a really small trailer, don't really seem to have any of these weird bugs or anything like that. So let me know if you know anything else like this in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear from you guys there. If you did go and enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With that out of the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.